What is up, Tube users, and welcome to another episode of Fantastically Fun Games for $15. Today, we are looking at one of the hottest games out there right now, Battlebit. Battlebit is a fantastic game, offering everything you'd expect from a AAA shooter, but for a reasonable and affordable $15. Sure, it doesn't have the fancy graphics of a Call of Duty or Battlefield, but it more than makes up for it by matching those games in gameplay. I believe the keys to making a good and fun first-person shooter are to have good character movement, good sound design to allow players to immerse themselves in the game, and most importantly, have smooth and fun gunplay. Battlebit knocks each one of those points out of the park. The movement feels great, fast-paced, which helps with some of the larger maps. The sound design, while not on the same level as COD or Battlefield, is still immersive simply due to all the chaos happening around the map at all times. And the gunplay is honestly more fun than most FPS games out there, by providing a plethora of different weapons that each feel unique and fun to use. The unlock system for this game is also very rewarding. Each game it feels like you level up multiple times to unlock new weapons, equipment, and armor. And the more kills you get with the weapon, the more attachments you unlock for that weapon. It's a really satisfying power growth of your weapon the more you unlock attachments for it. You start out with a basic weapon with no attachments, and it can be pretty tough to get kills with it. But then you start unlocking more and more attachments, and you can just feel the gunplay of that particular weapon getting smoother with each attachment you equip. And the sound and reward you get for getting headshots in this game are so incredibly satisfying, especially when sniping. I normally don't find sniping to be that fun in first-person shooters, but in this game, it is so much fun to just go around with a sniper. There is no other FPS game out there that I can think of that rewards sniper kills as much as Battlebit does. By giving you a multiplier for headshot kills, and adding XP for the distance of the kill, and displaying the distance so you can exclaim how far away that guy was to your buddies is so much fun. And the absolute chaos of games. I mean, there's no other game that has 127 versus 127 players. I don't think a Call of Duty or Battlefield could pull that off with their high fidelity graphics. I think it really is because of the graphics that they are allowed to have this many players in one map. I really think even if you aren't a fan of FPS shooters, that just immersing yourself in the chaos of 127 v 127 game is so much fun. That, combined with the in-game voice chat, just makes the game so much more immersive and so much fun. Sometimes I'll just play passive and not even shoot any enemies, instead playing a medic and going around reviving all my fallen comrades. And especially with the XP you gain from reviving and healing up teammates, medic is definitely the way to go to level, and you don't even need to shoot anyone. And speaking of medic, the classes in this game that you can play are all so unique and fun to play. You have your squad lead class, which is really good for leading a team into combat. You have your assault class, which is a really good class for people that just want to shoot an assault rifle. You have your medic class, which is probably the best class in the game, allowing you to heal and revive other teammates. You have your engineer class, which is really good for taking out enemy vehicles and blowing holes into different buildings. You have your support class, which is really good for building different objects and obstacles for cover. And finally, you have your recon class, which is really good for anyone who wants to snipe. Each class has a different array of weapons to choose from and different equipment to make them feel even more unique. But even this game, as great as it is, still has some flaws. I do feel like the medic class needs to be adjusted somehow. It is just way too efficient at getting XP and way too good at self-healing. There definitely also needs to be some balance changes with some of the guns in the game, especially the Vector. Feels like 95% of the time I get killed, it's from a vector, which is just super frustrating to play against. I do feel like the grenades and equipment in this game need to be nerfed as well. It feels like they just have such a large kill radius for the small explosion that they have. But other than that, I mean, I feel the game is in a really good state right now. Just some of those issues need to be cleared up, and it could be a near perfect game. So with the good and bad out of the way of this game, let's delve into some tips and tricks I've learned from playing this game. My first tip is, as you level up, go to your character loadout and pick a loadout that's right for you. Some people are going to want more armor, other people are going to want more carry space for ammo and equipment. Just pick something that feels right for you. Another tip I have is to just go into the gun range and test out the different weapons without any equipment on. You can use all the equipment and the gun range, but I think it's better to use no equipment just because that's how you're going to start out playing that weapon. Another tip I have when you're wanting to build a loadout for a weapon is to just go into a game that you're not really going to do much in and just build your loadout in it. Unfortunately, you can't build your loadout inside the main menu. You have to go into a game and do it. So just join a random lobby and just quit out when you're done finishing your loadout. As far as loadouts go, I'll typically run an assault rifle. The M4 is a great starting weapon, but my personal favorite has been the AK-15. I've recently been using the SCAR, which is a lot of fun too. I just love those high-powered, high-damage assault rifles. But it's definitely worth it to go into the practice range when starting out just to get a feel for the weapons and see which one is right for you. As far as classes go, I definitely recommend playing the medic. They are just so good at getting XP and leveling up, and the ability to self-heal makes them one of the best classes in the game. Another tip I have for newcomers to this game, especially if you're going to be playing the larger game modes like 64v64 or 127v127, is to just learn sections of the map at a time. A lot of these maps are super large and it can be overwhelming to try and navigate from one side to the other. So I tend to just stick to one area of the map and learn that area as much as you can by going around. Another tip I have for people that are trying to snipe in this game is if you use a long range scope, you are going to have a massive glare that enemies will be able to see. Typically when I snipe, I like to use a short range ACOG scope, which just has enough range so I can see far away, but it won't have that massive glare attached to it. Another tip I have for sniping, especially long range sniping, is to hold the Alt key and use your scroll wheel to zero in on your scope. Zeroing in your scope will allow you to shoot at further ranges without having to worry about bullet drop. Another big tip I have, especially for sniping, is to not underestimate the use of suppressors. A lot of different weapons can be seen from far away because of the muzzle flash of the bullets themselves, and with a suppressor that basically negates that entirely. This isn't a tip but a general recommendation. I would highly recommend you use in-game voice chat. Some of my most memorable moments in this game have just been talking to other people on my team or even the enemy team. Be aware if you have this active, the enemies will be able to hear you for a few seconds after you die. Another tip I have for people that want to use vehicles in this game is to just go into a game and start using them. Unfortunately, there's no vehicles in the practice range, so the only way to get better with them is to just go into a game and play around with them. And my final tip is to never underestimate fall damage in this game. There are a lot of heights that seem like you wouldn't take damage, but you end up taking a lot and can even kill you. So just be aware that even small ledges will hurt. But other than that, just have fun with the game. I've had a lot of fun personally just role-playing different soldiers and talking with my comrades, or soaking in the massive amounts of chaos that unfolds in a 127v127 game. And even if you're not into that stuff, this game is great for just zoning out with some tunes and slaying enemies. And even if you're not into the chaos of a 254 person game, there's still a lot of fun to be had in the smaller game modes of 64v64 or 32v32. And an interesting thing to note about the 32v32 game modes is they're usually played on the same maps as the bigger game modes, just condensed into a smaller area, which can be fun and different. One last recommendation I have for this game is to definitely play with friends. A great thing about this game is that partnering up with friends is not locked behind a 4-person max party, instead allowing up to 8 friends to be in the same party at the same time, which is such a small yet great addition to this game. Most games out there are locked behind that 4-person max party, but this game allows up to 8 people to be in the same party at the same time. Typically, I don't have a max 8 party, but just being able to have 5 or even 6 people in a party can be really fun. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did. Go check out this game if you haven't already. Make sure to comment any other affordable games for under $15 and hit that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
That rhythm.